Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 2 from the Global Environmental Politics class. And our topic of the paper is ocean plastic pollution, and it is related to the SDG 12 and 14. The members of this group is myself, Harzana Nabila Zaitungkagi, and then there's Diah Naufal and Gibran Irfani. So the first presentation will be brought by Diana Naufal. Diana Naufal, you may start.
So I'm gonna discuss about the background of the paper. There are five main points in the background itself, which is contains. The first one is how is this topic important? It's because this problem is one of the concern of the SDGs itself. Um, in the and it's discussed at several points in the SDGs, namely responsible consumption and production and lives below water. These 2 points are related to the discussion in this paper, and this is also indicates how important the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean is. The sea is very important for human and marine life, and also the habitat for marine life. Humans make use of marine resources found in above the sea. Small and Nicholas in 2003 said that the human population who are active in coastal areas is 33% of the human population in the world. The human population on the coast greatly affects the increase in marine pollution. And then executive director of the 2017 World Ocean Summit, Charles Goddard, said the world's oceans are experiencing pollution threats related to human activities in coastal areas. Human activities in coastal areas produce a lot of waste, and amount of the waste is increasing globally. So, and then the plastic waste is the most waste that pollutes the ocean. Even though there are many kinds of waste in the ocean, the most waste that pollutes the ocean is plastic, with the percentage of 60 until 80%. Large quantities of plastic and other debris can be found in the most remote parts of the world's oceans. Plastic persists almost independently in the environment and has a significant impact on marine and coastal biodiversity. A study published in 2016 reported that if present rates continue, by 2050 there will be more plastic in the world's oceans than fish by weight. This marine debris has a direct impact on marine life, as well as damage to the wider ecosystem, health problems for coastal communities, aesthetic impacts on the coastal environment, and economic impacts on various industries that depend on the coastal and marine environment. So the fourth point of the background is the impact of polluted ocean on us. In general, the impact of pollution is the damage or reduction in the quality of biological and vegetable resources, both in the water column and the land below. Besides that, marine pollution can also damage or harm fishery facilities or interfere with other legal use of the sea. Thus, marine pollution causes harm not only on the marine environment but also the economy. The disposal of tailings or waste from mining activities into the sea also causes pollution because the tailings that should have settled on the sea can be carried to the sea surface by reversing the flow from under the sea. Because the tailings contain dangerous heavy metals such as mercury, adverse environmental impacts and are accumulative throughout the food chain. And the disadvantage that we feel when the ocean is contaminated with waste. This is also the cause of massive financial loss, estimated to be in the region of 13 billion annually, resulting from the negative impact that plastic debris has on marine ecosystems, the economic loss suffered by the tourism and fishing sectors, and the financial costs associated with coastal cleanups. According to Greenpeace 2006 report, at least 267 different species are known to have suffered from entanglement or ingestion of marine debris, including seabirds, turtles, seals, sea lions, whales, and fish. The scale of contamination of the marine environment by plastic debris is vast. Is it found floating in all the world's oceans, everywhere from polar regions to the equator. Seawater pollution is legally regulated because seawater is a public property whose control is mandated by the government. Seawater pollution needs to be controlled because the result of water pollution can reduce the use of water as the basic capital and the main factor of the development. Besides that, seawater is the livelihood area for fishermen. The life of fishermen's family is never free from the problem of poverty and socio-economic disparities. And the next material will be delivered by my friend.
You can go next. Yes. Okay. Next. Yeah. Okay. So, in this era, plastic product and packaging is oftenly used. And plastic have been used for many things, such as product holder or container, for shampoo bottle, toothbrush, to mostly as food packaging. Um, there is 80% of the waste that end up in the ocean comes from land source. And 30% of food packaging is made of plastic, and the rest is usually unrecyclable materials such as glass and beverage cans. Food packaging is commonly used in the modern era. It provides our food safety, reliable, shelf stable, and clean. Most of the food that we consume and buy, especially from processed food that we get from grocery store, have are packaged and is ready for us to use. But it does have a negative impact on our environment. Unfortunately, most food packaging are designed as a single-use plastic, and it is typically thrown away rather than being recycled. The cause of the products being thrown away is because it is a single-use plastic, and most people don't reuse the packaging of the product. Once plastic become in contact with waterways, it does not only become trash, but it also becomes a threat for humans, avian, and marine life. And how does that happen? Once plastic come in contact with waterways, it degrade with the plastic degrade and absorb toxic chemicals like PCB and pesticide like DDT, which contaminate water and the marine life, which eventually made its way through the food chain for humans to consume. The breakdown of plastic also release a toxic chemical such as bisphenol A. With the product of these food packaging still common, container of food is not shocking why it has now become a part of planetary crisis. Next, Gibran. Okay. Yeah. As mentioned before, plastic is also threat for birds and marine life. We all have seen those videos where the plastic got caught in animals, in their noses, in their necks, and it is really harmful for them because they are not humans. They do not have the ability to figure out what they should do, and it is the cause of those trash being in the ocean is from humans. So, and according to Ocean Conservancy, plastic has been found in 59% of seabirds like albatross and pelicans, 100% of sea turtles species, and in more than 25% of fish sampled from seafood markets around the world have actually plastic in their body. So it's not only that these plastic is negative for only the marine life and seabirds, but it's also for humans because it made its way through the food chain. And why does this phenomenon happen? Because the demand of products and having in the now era, most of the food that we consume are packaged, and it mostly will contain waste, plastic waste in particular, and the overconsumption of these products, the demand of the products from customers is the reason for why it's ending up in the ocean, and also unreliable landfills are one of the reasons. So we can go to the next discussion will be brought by my friend. Next.
So how does the SDG solve ocean plastic waste? Ocean plastic waste is discussed in the SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, and also in the SDG 14, in life below water, that concern the protection of the seas and ocean. However, this issue is discussed in several other numbers of SDG because the complexities of this problem. A report by World Bank published in 2018, 90% of the rubbish in low-income countries is dumped in landfills in the open air, compared to just 2% in high-income countries. Plastic waste that is dumped in the open air often blows away. Plastic is an eternal plug in many ways because it does not biodegrade. This report, Waste 2.0, also asserts the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015 offer a framework for action. The implicit message to fix the problem is clear: just improve waste management system in low-income countries. Next. Okay. The relationship between several SDGs is in the good health and well-being in the SDG 3, and clean waste and sanitation in the SDG 6, sustainable cities and communities in the SDG 11, responsible consumption and production in the SDG 12, climate action in the SDG 13, life below water, that protection of the seas and ocean in the SDG 14, life on land, that restore ecosystem and preserve diversity in the SDG 15. One could easily link plastic pollution to other SDG as well, given that plastic and plastic waste are omnipresent. The diverse negative impact of plastic on sustainability demonstrate that the world has to deal with a tough and persistent problem. The next discussion part will present by my friend Naval.
Oh, yeah. So the next discussion will be brought by me. So we must wonder, with this issue being recognized by the UN in the SDG, what efforts have the governments around the world? Since plastic pollution is a global issue, it is faced by most countries in the world. One of the countries that we will be talking about is Australia. So Australia have been taking a step forward by banning their waste export and improving their domestic recycling capacities. The reason why they do this ban is actually because China decided to ban import to their country, garbage import to their country. So Australia sent some of their trashes, some of their trashes such as plastic and plastic waste and all. One of the countries that they import to is actually China. China actually takes up to China banned their import plastic of plastic recyclables, and they also sent to countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, which have also limited their import in for plastic waste to be sent to their countries. So Australia have been taking a step to stop exporting their trash because most of the countries that they import to have stopped receiving. Not only that, but actually exporting their trash costs for 4.5 million. I mean 2.8 billion Australian dollars. And in 2019, Australian Prime Minister Scott Plunge donated pledge 20 Scott Morrison pledged 20 million Australian dollar towards improving their domestic recycling capacity. So since they stopped exporting their trash, how do they deal with the plastic waste themselves without exporting it? So the government decides to improve their domestic recycling capacities. The first phase is in the government recent plan is to stop exporting paper, glass, and tires. According to Morrison, the funding will support innovative projects to grow Australia's domestic recycling industry. For the past 6 months, since 2019, the increasing mass of waste at the local recycling plants in Australia, in one of the state in Victoria, have been at high risk. With the key of recycling plants down, more than 30 councils in the country have forced to do the recycling also. Next. So another country that have decided to tackle this issue is Sweden. Sweden have been known as an environmentally conscious country. One of their focuses is on waste management and plastic pollution. There is a program by Sweden 34 Waste to Energy, for power plants where instead of burning coal and gas, this power burns trash. Sweden has recycled 89% of all their PET bottles, and in 2017, 1.85 billion cans and PET bottles were returned to be reused and accumulate to 85% of package sold in Sweden during that year. So Sweden have actually taken a really far step to tackle this issue with recycling program from their government. Sweden have actually taken a further step to join efforts to fight ocean plastic pollution, not only in their country, but also in Southeast Asia. Swedish ambassador for the ocean, Helen Agrin, visits Thailand with UNEP and the coordinating body of the Sea of East Asia, COPSEA, and the government of Sweden launched a four-year project in Southeast Asia. Since 60% of plastic that ends up in the oceans comes from only 6 countries in Asia, actually. So most of the plastic waste that we found is actually from only 6 countries in Asia. Sweden have found that this region is the right target to promote awareness of this issue, since it is one of the countries that is dealing with most of the plastic waste issue, not only in the ocean but generally. And in addition, Sweden challenged the region's limit waste managed capacity that contributes to 75% of the region's plastic waste. The new project aims to reduce the use of difficult to recycle plastic, increase the collection and the recycling of high value plastics such as PET, such as what they did in their country, and to boost public awareness on plastic pollution and support an improvement of plastic pollution policies. The project will also work to improve the region's waste management system. The UN Environment and COPSEA will engage stakeholders throughout plastic value chain, from plastic products and waste managers to individual coastal communities who experience the impact of plastic oceans. So it is what Sweden is doing is really great, that they are helping other countries with programs that they have had in their countries, applying it to other countries with the high level of plastic waste. So we can go to the next slide.
Okay, the next discussion is has industries stop producing more plastic waste? So, business or industries, I'm sorry, people around the world are using single-use plastics and promising to live more sustainably in the face of the undeniable effects of a poisonous wave of plastics. Governments are still acting. The UN Environment Clean Seas campaign has been signed by more than 50 countries, making it the first global compact for the fight against marine debris. So then how the industries react to this issue? So actually business or industries cannot continue to neglect the consumer after all, and many companies are making proposals to phase out single-use plastics, use more recycled material in their packaging, and seek to recycle more efficiently. The burden does not come just from the customers. In June, Bloomberg announced that a group of 25 investors controlling more than $1 trillion in assets were requiring that their use of plastic packaging be limited by Nestle. Pepsi company, Procter and Gamble, and Unilever, supported by the non-profit CISO, the call requested business to report their annual use of plastic packaging, set reduction targets, and encourage recycling, and make the move as much as feasible to recycled or compostable packaging. So, what did they do to address this issue? In shifting the wasteful dynamic, business are using the industries using plastic obviously have a pivotal role to play. In fact, the consumer goods industry is mindful that consumers are now voting with their feet, shunning firms that do not avoid their use of plastic throwaways. The economic justification for inaction diminishing expectation is the new reality will spur creativity, and opportunity. Both big and small business are now undergoing improvements. Here are just a few examples. The first example is the Coca-Cola, which uses around 120 billion bottles a year, launched its World Without Waste campaign in January, saying it would recycle a used bottle or can for every new one sold by 2030. It also pledged to increase the amount of recycled content in plastic bottles to 50% by 2030, and is experimenting with different collection techniques for recycling its products, including backing government and industry efforts. The second one is Nestle. Nestle, yeah. To Nestle pledged to make all its plastic packaging 100% recyclable or usable by 2025. It wants to encourage the use of plastic that allows better recycling rates and eliminate or change the complex combination of plastic that make recycling so difficult. And the third one and last example is McDonald's. McDonald's has said it will make all its packaging from renewable and recyclable sources by 2025. So the fourth point is the UK Plastic Pact is an example of a government program to regulate industry. So the UK Plastic Pact is aimed at harnessing this recognition of the need for reform in Britain. Approximately 60 companies, including Coca-Cola, Pepsi, P&G, Unilever, and Nestle, have signed a pact that involves goals to eradicate problematic or wasteful single-use plastic packaging by redesigning, innovating, or alternate distribution methods, and to ensure that 70% of plastic packaging is effectively recycled or composted. Uh, and the last point is UN's research to help tackle this waste case. I mean, in a recent report, UN Environment explored the feasibility of substituting a number of natural materials for traditional plastics such as paper, uh, cotton, wood, algae, and fungi, and alternative technologies such as biomass-based new generation biopolymers. It is also highlighted firms that are innovating in this area, from multinationals to startups. Uh, Multinational to startups. A New York-based corporation, for example, has created compostable packaging using waste organic material and the fungal mycelium. The packaging, like Dell computers, can be shaped and used for the shipment of high-value products, according to UN in the 2018. So that was the last discussion, and we're moving on to the conclusion that will be brought by my friend Gibran.
Thank you, Nopal. For the conclusion, as the concern that discussed at several points in the SDGs, ocean plastic waste should be considered as one of the planetary boundaries. Environmental plastic is irreversible. It is impossible or unrealistic to clean up, particularly when discussing microplastic, and plastic is everywhere in increasing quantities. Because the ocean is 70% of the earth, we must take care of our ocean for making the earth a better place for human life. However, waste management as a sector has the potential to become a significant growth industry. The need for innovative and sustainable ways of managing waste already attracts millennials, entrepreneurs, and industry heavyweight, providing excellent opportunities and can be a powerful catalyst for economic growth. Okay, thank you for the time, guys.
Okay. That is all for our presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.